Okay, we're going to start. The topic we're going to deal with today is how to deal with your chametz, how to destroy your chametz. In halachic terms, we're going to ask, how do you dekayem the mitzvah from the Torah that says, Ach bayom harishon tashbitu se'or mebatechem. The mitzvah, the way the Torah phrases it, sounds like an active commandment. Tashbitu, do something active. However, there's two other psukim, se'or lo yimatzeh bebatechem ve'lo yireh lecha chametz, which are not, they're negative commandments that don't tell us to do something active. Just make sure you don't have chametz in your house. Make sure you don't own chametz. So the question is there a mitzvah to actively destroy your chametz, or is it a mitzvah to make sure you don't have chametz on Pesach? For example, I had neighbors that I'm sure the house was kosher for Pesach a week after Purim, right? Do they have to do anything else? Erev Pesach, do they have to look for chametz to burn? We all have that minhag of hiding the 10 pieces of chametz. Is there any inyan of that? If your house is 100% kosher for Pesach, a week before Pesach, do you have to do anything Erev Pesach? So from the active pasuk tashbitu, seems maybe yes. From the pasuk, the negative one of lo yimatzeh, just to make sure, seems not. So the Achronim deal with this extensively. Chaim Bris dealt with it extensively. He wanted to claim that it has to do with this argument is the source of the argument between Rabbi Yehuda and Chachamim. Do you have to burn your chametz, or can you destroy it in any way you want? According to Rabbi Yehuda, there's a mitzvah to burn it, specifically burning the chametz, just like you burn the leftovers of a korban. There's a mitzvah to burn it. You have to burn it. You can't destroy it in any other way. Similarly, the chametz, the leftover chametz that you didn't get rid of, you have to burn before Pesach. And that's why it has to be burnt. But Chachamim say you just have to make sure you don't have chametz. So get rid of it any way you want. So that's what Chaim Bris wants to say according to that, and that is agreed upon according to all poskim. We hold like Chachamim. That means according to Shulchan Aruch, at least we hold like Chachamim. And therefore, we can destroy the chametz any way we want. The question is, what is considered destroying the chametz, getting rid of the chametz? And that's what this class is going to be dealing with. The simplest way of getting rid of your chametz, I just want to say, if someone has a question, then put yourself off mute and ask the question. Okay, it's a short class, but questions are permitted. So the simplest way to get rid of our chametz, and this is the most practical way in 2020 Corona epidemic world, is just to throw it in the garbage, right? That's what we all want to do. We want to take the chametz and throw it in the garbage. Going and looking to burn the chametz is going to be very complicated this year. It's also going to be, it's against the law, and no one wants to get a 5,000 shekel fine, so we just want to throw our chametz in the garbage. Is that enough? So we're going to break that down to two parts. The first question is just throwing it into your own garbage can enough? If I went to my garbage under my sink, right, threw the chametz, the bag of chametz, all my leftover Cheerios, I threw it in there. Is that enough? So here we get to an interesting machloket achronim. Everyone agrees that as long as the chametz is edible, ra'ui lemachal kelev, a dog would eat it, it's still considered chametz and you have to destroy it. The question is throwing it in the garbage enough? From the Torah, Rav Moshe Feinstein comes and says, from the Torah, it is enough to throw it in the garbage. Why? Because from the Torah, we know it's enough to do bitul balev. What's bitul balev? To get rid of it, to not see it as food anymore, or to do hefker, and all the different explanations there are for what bitul balev means, you achieve by throwing it in the garbage. You throw chametz in the garbage is a way of saying, I don't care about it, I'm mafkir it, it's not mine anymore, it's in a garbage can. So for the Torah, definitely throwing the garbage is enough according to Moshe Feinstein. The question is, midirabanan, we know it's not enough to do bitul balev, you have to leva'er me'abayit, you have to remove it from your house. Why do you have to remove it from your house? Argument, Tosfot says, because we're afraid you might come to eat it. Yeah, you did bitul, but then you change your mind, you might eat it. Rashi says, we say bitul balev because some people, they won't be serious about doing bitul balev. If they see they have a whole loaf of bread, they'll do bitul balev and a whole loaf of bread, or they have a very expensive whiskey, they're going to do bitul balev on that. They might say the words, they won't mean it, says Rashi. And if they don't mean it, it doesn't catch. Therefore, we want to make sure they actually get rid of it. The question is throwing it in the garbage, does it achieve those goals? Some achronim, led by the Chelkat Yaakov, he said, yes, throwing it in your own garbage can does achieve both goals. Why? I threw it in the garbage can. I'm not going to eat it. It's very clear I'm not going to eat it. The Tosfos explanation that you have to get rid of it because we're afraid you might eat it, even though you did bitul balev, you did the bitul. It doesn't exist anymore because by throwing it in the garbage, you made sure you won't eat it anymore. And according to Rashi's explanation, you care about it. You care about it. You might not be serious. You threw it in the garbage. Of course, you'll be serious about your bitul regarding this type of chametz. Therefore, he claimed, according to both explanations, both Tosfot and Rashi's explanation, throwing it in your own garbage can is enough, also from the Torah and also Mederabanan. Again, from the Torah, obviously, because it's hefker and you don't care about it, you don't see it as food anymore. But even from the Rabbanan, because there's no, we're not afraid we're going to come to eat it, and we're not afraid you might care about it in your bitul balev. However, many achronim, most poskim, did not agree with the Chelkat Yaakov, and they said, for their main claim was what we all think intuitively, you still can take it out of the garbage can and eat it. When we said it's not edible it's in your house, and yes, you threw it in the garbage, but it's still there. And if you change your mind and you took it off and you rinsed it off, it's edible. Would you eat it? In a time of need, you might eat it. If things got tough and this coronavirus got worse, people are going to look for real food. And it's food. It's in your garbage can. It's food. So therefore, throwing it in the garbage would not be enough. They agree. If you want to throw it in your own garbage can, you could. But then you have to add something else. Add economica, add a poison, pour something in your garbage can to make all the chametz not edible, for even a dog won't eat it, and then throwing it in your own garbage can is enough. So if anybody wants to do bitul chametz by doing bi'ur chametz, by throwing all the chametz in its own garbage can, he can. According to Chelkat Yaakov, just by throwing it in his garbage can. According to most poskim, throwing in the garbage can is not enough. You have to add economica or any kind of poison that makes it not edible, even for a dog. He won't touch it. What about throwing it in the garbage can that belongs to the Iriyah? Just going outside, and that's what mostly we're all gonna do. Can we just throw it out in the garbage can, the big green garbage bins outside? So the Shulchan Aruch says that if you threw your chametz to Reshut HaRabim, to a public area, before it's Zman Esurot, that means before, when you still can eat it, and it's still there after you can eat it, after Zman Esurot, that means he's talking about a scenario you threw it outside in your yard. You threw your chametz in your yard at 9 o'clock in the morning. Comes 11 o'clock in the morning, the chametz is still there. Says the Shulchan Aruch, if it's still there, you have to get rid of it. Why? It's still in your property. Yes, you can have, if you get rid of the chametz, throwing it to the birds is good enough. But if it's physically in property that you own, then it's not enough if you see the chametz is still there. So that's why, according to the poskim we said earlier, if I have the chametz in the garbage can in my house, it'll be a problem. Even though I don't care about it anymore, it's still physically in my property. So what does that have to do with garbage bins? Who do the garbage bins belong to? Asked the poskim. It's a good question. Who do the garbage bins belong to? This is some poskim say, well, it belongs to the city, and taxpayer, who owns the city? The city belongs to the residents. So you can say the citizens own the garbage cans. But if the citizens together, collectively own the garbage cans, then there is no difference between throwing the chametz in your own private garbage can or into the public garbage can. Other poskim said, yeah, it's not that we own the garbage cans. Every few buildings, we rent the garbage cans with our taxpayers' money, we rent the services of the garbage company. And therefore, we rent it. And even if you rent a house, if there's chametz in the house, the renter is responsible. Similarly, they get to the same conclusion, that even the big garbage cans outside might be a problem, because either we own the garbage cans or we're renting the garbage cans. Either way, the chametz is in something that we own. We partly own. Partly own is good enough. If you partly own it, partly rent it, own it or rent it, you have to do bitul. Throwing it there is not enough. So how do you get around that? First solution is the technical one, and some Haredi communities, they do this. They say, oh, if you throw it in the garbage can and they didn't remove it to the big bin and it's still in the green bin that's in front of your house, then be sure to throw economica or pour some poison on it to make it not edible. But that solution is highly not practical. Therefore, the poskim suggested two other solutions. One solution is that you can rely. We're talking about the Rabbanan here anyway. It's really the Rabbanan. The entire issue is the Rabbanan. Like we said earlier, doing bitul is enough. And here, according to many poskim, it's in the garbage already. Throwing in the garbage might be enough. And therefore, you can rely on that to say that the garbage cans belongs to the city. And who's the city? The garbage cans do not belong to us, and it's not that we're renting them. They belong to the city, and the city is not a Jew, and the city is not a person. The city is its own entity. It's an entity in itself. Just like you have companies, you have a city, and the city owns, or the company owns it. If it's a garbage company, the garbage company owns it. And it does not belong to you. And it's not that you're renting it, they're giving you a service. And therefore the question doesn't even begin. But because it's Pessach, and people don't like kulot in Pessach, so therefore poskim looked for other solutions. The Rav Malamud had an interesting solution, and he says that even if we do own it, we own the bin. We don't own the chametz, and therefore the city owns the bin. The city doesn't own the chametz. Why doesn't the city own the chametz? Because the city doesn't want to own the chametz. You put it in there for they can remove it and throw it in the big garbage dump. They don't want to own it. And since they don't want to own it, then you can't force someone to own something they don't want to own. And therefore, yes, it belongs to the city, and the city belongs to the Jews, but the city doesn't want to gain ownership over, the city doesn't want to gain ownership over the chametz. So therefore, even if the city is all Jewish, it wouldn't make a difference. They asked their question, would it make a difference if the city is all Jewish? No, even if the city is all Jewish, it wouldn't make a difference because the city doesn't want to own the chametz you throw there. You threw out there is hefker, make it ownerless. And the city says, fine, we don't want to buy your chametz. We just want to transfer it for you. It's a transfer service. Now, if you have a recycling, in Israel, we don't have recycling of food yet. But if it was a recycling, a place where they recycle food, then that would be more interesting because there, according to this logic, the recycling company really wants to own the food in order to use it for fertilizing or whatever it is. So that, according to that Rav Malamud's solution would not work in that scenario, and we have to rely on the other solutions brought earlier. Either the poskim hold that a city doesn't belong to anybody, it's an entity in itself, or the poskim that say throwing in the garbage is good enough because, again, no one's going to take it out of the garbage to eat it, and you can't say someone's not serious about his bitul by throwing in the garbage, according to Rashi's explanation. That said, there is a mitzvah brought down the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch says there is a mitzvah to burn it. Why is there a mitzvah to burn it if you can? Use fire. Because, again, it's Pessach, and we want to be able to say all the shitot, and there are some poskim that hold, like Rabbi Yehuda, that there is a mitzvah to burn it, and therefore, since it's Pesach, we want to lehader to do that mitzvah. But it is a hidur mitzvah, and therefore you should try to lehader to burn your chametz in normal years. This year it's impossible, and therefore the poskim look for different solutions. The chief rabbi of Maala Adomim just came out with a Pessach today, saying that you should leave a kazait of chametz, put it in a tin bin or a tin can, or burn it on your own oven, and then throw out the ashes to lekir the mitzvah of burning something. We're not going to burn the big amounts you burnt last year, but we're going to burn the smaller amounts. A small amount of a kazait. Just want to finish with last halacha of if you find chametz on Pesach, how do you destroy it? So destroying your chametz on Pesach, again, there you really have to destroy it. Throwing it out to the main garbage is not enough. You can't do hefker right after the Chatzot Hayom and of Leil Yudaled and Yom Yudaled. You can't throw it out the chametz into the garbage anymore. All the solutions I mentioned earlier is up till Chatzot Hayom and Yudaled. As soon as Chatzot Hayom and Yudaled pass, you have to destroy the chametz. What's this physically destroying it? Burning it, we mentioned. Nowadays we can't burn it because of the corona. What shall we do? Two solutions. Either you're pouring the poison on it, pouring the different chemicals to make it not edible to a dog, or you can flushing it down the toilet. Flushing down the toilet is also a solution brought down by many poskim. You crumble it into the toilet seat and flush it down. Some poskim said it's better to also put economica in the toilet seat when you do that in order to destroy your chametz. Again, that's when you find the chametz on Pesach. On Pesach meaning from Chatzot Hayom. So we'll summarize halacha l'maaseh what we learned. Not likatchila, the mitzvah is lader to burn the chametz. Nowadays, today, because of the corona, it's not practical to burn the chametz. So what we're going to be doing is throwing it out in the garbage bin. We can only throw it out in the garbage bin before Chatzot Hayom of Yudaled, and according to most poskim, that is enough. In Sh'at Adchak, you can be somech on the poskim to just throw it in a garbage can. That's not a public one, but then it's better to pour economica on it just to be able to say all the shitot. And if you find it on Pesach, then you have to destroy it. You cannot throw it out in the garbage. Even in the public garbage is not enough. Rather, you have to either burn it, and now since that's not practical, flush it down the toilet or pour economic on it. We should all have a Chag Kasher v'Sameach, and Bezat Hashem, I'll see you, whoever wants, in another class I'm going to give in 2 more evenings. Shav Koach for everyone for participating. Laila Tov.